One AI model gets called too dangerous to release. Then it gets pointed at one of the most important open source projects on the internet. And the result is not what the headlines made people expect. Not a pile of critical bugs. Not some instant cyber doomsday. One low severity vulnerability. That sounds like the hype died right there. But I don't think it's that simple. Because the strange part is not just what Mythos found. The strange part is what this whole situation says about AI, security, and the people who have to clean up the mess after the demo ends. The public story around Anthropic's Mythos has been very loud. Anthropic says Claude Mythos Preview is an unreleased model with strong ability to find and exploit software vulnerabilities, and Project Glasswing gives selected companies and open source groups access for defensive work. Reuters also reported that Anthropic was set to brief the Financial Stability Board about vulnerabilities found by Mythos, because governments and banks were taking the risk seriously. So the easy reaction is obvious. Either Mythos is a terrifying breakthrough, or it is a marketing stunt wearing a lab coat. But I think both answers are too lazy. The curl scan gives us a cleaner way to look at it. Because curl is not random code sitting forgotten in a basement, it is widely used, heavily reviewed, and maintained by people who actually care. So when Mythos hit curl and found very little, that does not automatically mean AI security is fake. It means the real question is different. What happens when AI can find more possible bugs than humans can verify? The first mistake is treating finding a bug like it is the whole job. It is not. In security, a report is not a trophy by itself. A report has to be real. It has to matter. Someone has to reproduce it. Someone has to understand the risk. Someone has to patch it without breaking something else. And someone has to do all of that while other reports keep coming in. That is the part most hype skips, because a flashy model demo is clean. Real maintenance is not clean. Real maintenance is emails, issue trackers, test failures, weird edge cases, false alarms, and people asking the same small team to treat every red flag like the building is on fire. Curl already saw this problem before Mythos became the headline. The source transcript points out that AI-generated fake bug reports had already created a heavy triage burden for Curl's maintainers, to the point where the bug bounty program was pulled from HackerOne. And this is the trap. If AI gives you one real bug and 4 fake ones, it still gave you work. If it gives you 10 real bugs and 100 weak ones, it gave you even more work. The system can call that progress. The maintainer may call it Tuesday ruined. That does not mean the model is useless. It means more findings is not the same thing as more security. That difference matters a lot. Curl was a hard target for a very normal reason. It has been looked at for years. It has tests, it has fuzzing, it has humans who review things carefully. It is exactly the kind of project where the obvious bugs have a harder time surviving. Daniel Stenberg, Curl's lead developer, wrote that he did not get direct Mythos access at first, but someone with access ran the scan and sent him the report. And the punchline was almost rude in how small it was. The report produced 5 claimed issues. Curl confirmed 1 security vulnerability. It was low severity. Stenberg titled the post, "Mythos finds a curl vulnerability," and immediately stressed the singular, 1. That is funny, but it is also useful, because it shows why benchmarks and real code are not the same thing. A benchmark is a controlled room. Real code is a city. It has history. It has old design choices. It has weird trade-offs. It has parts nobody touches unless something breaks. And if the project is already well maintained, the easy wins are gone. So when Mythos does not tear through curl, I do not read that as AI failed. I read it as a reminder that good engineering still matters. That is not a dramatic answer. It is just the one people forget because it does not fit on a scary headline. There is another problem with the Mythos debate. People keep mixing up 2 different skills. One skill is finding a suspicious bug. The other skill is turning a set of weaknesses into a working exploit. Those are not the same. A model can be decent at scanning code and still weak at proving real impact. Or it can be very good at building attack chains, but only when the setup is right. Cloudflare said Mythos Preview was a real step forward and highlighted exploit chain construction as one of the things that stood out, but it also focused on the need for process, harnesses, and validation around the model. That part is important. The model is not just magic in a chat window. The workflow around it matters. What code does it see? What tools can it run? How does it test its claims? How are results checked? Who decides what gets fixed first? That is the boring machinery behind the scary story. and usually, the boring machinery is where the truth hides. Because without validation, AI security becomes a slot machine. Sometimes it pays out, sometimes it spits noise, and someone still has to stand there counting the coins. This is why I do not like the question, is cybersecurity dead? It sounds bold, but it is not useful. Cybersecurity is not dead because a model can find bugs. Attackers already had tools. Defenders already had tools. AI makes some things faster, cheaper, and easier to scale. That is serious, but it does not remove the hard parts. Reuters reported that some cybersecurity experts saw early fears around Mythos as overstated, with the bigger challenge being validation, prioritization, and fixing flaws without breaking systems. That is the part I keep coming back to. Finding a weakness is not the finish line. It is the start of a queue, and the queue is already full. This is where the AI will solve security idea starts breaking down. Because if AI finds 10 times more possible issues, but the number of skilled people who can confirm and fix them stays the same, the bottleneck just moves. It moves from discovery to cleanup, from hunting to triage, from can we find bugs to can we survive the pile of reports. That is less cinematic. It is also more real. The curl case also shows why hype is such a bad measuring tool. If Mythos finds thousands of bugs somewhere else, people say it is unstoppable. If it finds one in curl, people say it is fake. Both reactions skip the context. Some codebases are soft targets. Some are hardened. Some are huge and messy. Some are small but dangerous. Some are old and careful. Some are new and held together with hope and a deadline. A tool can be powerful and still not produce fireworks everywhere. That is normal. A metal detector can be useful without finding treasure in every field. The more useful question is not, did it find a giant bug in this one project? The better question is, what kind of work does this make easier, and who gets overwhelmed because of it? Because that is where the pressure shows up. If defenders get better tools, good. If attackers get similar tools later, bad. If maintainers get flooded with half-real reports, also bad. And if companies turn every early result into a marketing event, now everyone has to separate the risk from the performance. That is the annoying part. The signal may be real. The packaging can still be ridiculous. So where does that leave Mythos? I would not call it nothing. That would be too comfortable. Cloudflare's public testing describes it as a real step forward, and Anthropic's own Project Glasswing framing is clearly built around the idea that these models are moving fast. But I also would not treat one model like it cracked the whole cyber world open by itself. That is too convenient for the people selling the story. The real change is quieter. AI is making vulnerability discovery easier to scale. That sounds good until you ask what happens after discovery. Because security is not just finding broken things. Security is deciding what matters, fixing it, testing it, and doing that again without burning out the people responsible. Curl did not make Mythos look useless. Curl made the hype look incomplete, and that is a much better lesson. Good code still matters. Good maintainers still matter. False positives still waste time. AI progress is real, and the systems around that progress are not ready just because the model got better. That is the part people should be paying attention to.